South Portland. City councilors voted last night 5-2 to have voters decide in a referendum question on the November ballot. So again, you don't live there, it still affects you because other Maine cities might be following suit. They're all watching what happens in South Portland.
Yes, they are. And so right now we're going to break down what Maine's most restrictive Airbnb rules yet will look like if passed. And we're taking a deeper dive into the numbers behind Airbnb in Maine. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. So you can see that question at the bottom of your screen. Vote right now at pulse.newscentermaine.com or at our mobile app, or join the conversation on Facebook or YouTube.
The fate of short-term rentals like Airbnb up in the air for nearly a year in South Portland, but not for much longer. Hosts can cash in renting a home or spare room. In South Portland alone, they make an average of nearly $8,000 a year. But city councilors say they've heard concerns from residents about strangers coming and going in their neighborhoods, unraveling the fabric of their community. So November 6th, residents will vote whether to pass a city council crafted ordinance with restrictive rules for the short-term rentals. Under the ordinance, unhosted rentals will be banned from residential zones, but can still operate in commercial zones. Regardless of the zone, hosts can still rent a spare room, with some limitations regarding the number of rooms and guests. And South Portland residents will be allowed to rent out their entire home when they go away on vacation, but only up to 7 consecutive days at a time, twice a year. Right now, there are 180 active hosts in South Portland. Statewide, there are just under 6,000. Last year, 12,000 guests used Airbnb in South Portland, nearly 333,000 statewide. Portland is the top Airbnb destination in Maine, followed by South Portland, Bar Harbor, Old Orchard Beach, and Ellsworth.
And so we could get our first look at the wording of the question voters will be answering later this week on Friday when ballots are due in South Portland. If that ordinance is passed in November, hosts who violate the new rules could face fines up to $1,500 a day. A day that they violate that ordinance.
All right, early results in. 80% of you basically are saying no, do not ban short-term rentals. About 20% of you saying yes. Obviously early here, so we want you to vote pulse.newscentermaine.com or click on the Pulse tab on your mobile app. This is a topic that everybody's talking about. It does affect the whole state. So, you know, South Portland's going first maybe on the voting part of it, but this will affect possibly every community that wants to do this.
So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out.
There you go. Today, it's nice.
Beautiful out
summer,
there.
Man, it was hot.
You guys like it all,
still
basically.
summer.
Let's go. Easy to please, Keith. Easy to please.
Are you? I guess so. 81. High temperature in Portland, 87 in Sanford, 90 officially in Freiburg. So a warm day. High humidity still out there. Wasn't oppressive in most spots, though. Currently sitting at 88 in Freiburg, 78 in Portland. We kicked a sea breeze here along the coastline. Although the sea breeze this time of the year has less of an impact than it does, say, early summer or midsummer, because that water temperature is warm, upper 60s, right around 70. So even a breeze off that isn't brutal. That's why we're still in the upper 70s in a lot of spots. It's gotten more humid. Yesterday it was dry up towards Bangor, Millinocket. Now 67 for a dew point, 71 for dew point in Lewiston, so in that oppressive range and at the very least uncomfortable range. And we add yet another day to the #1 spot for most humid summer. 36 days now of 70+ dew points. Tomorrow will be 37, just smashing the old record set in 1973. Pretty clear out there right now, a couple clouds over far northern Maine, but we'll be mostly clear to partly cloudy overnight tonight. Tomorrow will be hot, hotter than today in most spots. Look at 2 in the morning here. It's in the mid-70s over southwestern Maine, upper 60s over central and northern Maine. And again, that's in the middle of the night. So we quickly ramp up here into the 80s and low 90s. So by 10 a.m. it'll be 86 or so in Portland, 84 in Bangor, getting to 90 to 92 during the afternoon with a chance of a thunderstorm, but not everybody will get in on these storms. Many of us will end up dry, then we switch winds, turn drier for Thursday night and into Friday. So summer, guys, obviously has been winning the battle this week so far, but the weekend, it's all fall. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. So not uncommon to see panhandlers while traveling through some areas of our state, and many of those people depend on their shelters in the local communities.
In Maine's largest city, Portland, nearly 2,000 people use the Oxford Street homeless shelter each year, and now the city is looking for ways to keep the cost down for taxpayers. Sam York, what are they doing?
Hey guys, yeah, so of those 2,000 or so people that use the shelter every year, only about 1/3 of them are actually from Portland. The rest are from other places in Maine or even other states and countries. So in order to keep the cost down for Portland residents, the city is now billing other Maine towns and cities when their community members stay there. It's perfectly legal, and this is how it works.
This is a regional issue, and I think we all need to share in the burden of that.
Meet John Jennings, the city manager of Portland.
Why should the city of Portland and its taxpayers bear this burden exclusively when 1/3 of the individuals who are staying in our shelter are not from Portland?
He's referring to keeping up with the costs of the Oxford Street homeless shelter in Portland. His solution? Bill the other Maine cities and towns for their community members on general assistance who spend the night in the shelter. But how do they track where they come from?
Sometimes they have identification, sometimes they have bills from their last residence, like a light bill or a power bill.
That information gets sent to the city's social services office. They verify where the individual came from and send out the bill. If they can't, Portland taxpayers cover the cost.
Our staff does an amazing job of tracking anyone who comes into the shelter. We're not interested in billing another community if there isn't a legitimate connection to that community.
But how much does it actually cost Mainers? If you do the math, it comes out to about $10 per night. Multiply that by the number of non-Portland but Maine residents, and you're looking at more than $7,000.
We are proud that we can play this role in having the emergency shelter in the city of Portland, but we all need to step up and help.
All right, so pretty simple, right? But not everyone is on board with the idea. The city manager says they've only collected a small chunk of the $1,000 worth of bills that they sent out. And I did reach out for comment from some of the other cities and towns who received the bills, but I have not heard back from any of them yet.
All right, Sam. Thank you very much.
All right, you might have noticed there seem to be a lot more squirrels around, many of which end up, unfortunately, as roadkill. There's a reason why an unusual number of squirrels are scampering into the road.
Yeah, it turns out there was plenty of food last year for squirrels, acorns, pine cones, and such. So, according to wildlife officials, that led to a population boom. Many of the young squirrels are now leaving the woods in search of more territory and more food.
Squirrels are also active during the day, which is unusual for wild animals, so you are likely to see more of them.
I actually Googled the other day, what does it mean when you see lots of squirrels? Like, is it a sign of something? Because I've been seeing them everywhere and not the living ones. So I was wondering why that was, and now my question has been answered.
There you go.
That is social listening right there. You knew that I was thinking about that.
Exactly.
All right. Sometimes lawnmowers just don't cut it.
The newest, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I'm excited about this story. The newest landscapers hired by the city of South Portland have come in a herd, and they're not kidding. They're doing nothing but eating on the job. Did you get my joke? South Portland has hired the company Scapegoats to help with an invasive plant problem. A park along a popular bike path has been overrun by the Japanese knotweed, and it turns out these goats find it to be delicious.
Like a buffet over there. Look at that. For 1 week, 8 goats will be fenced in, chewing leaves and trampling roots until the park is accessible again. SOPO hired them in part to comply with a new ordinance that bans pesticides. Costs about $600 to get all those goats to come eat all of your plants. So,
yummy.
There you go. That's an expensive all-you-can-eat buffet right there.
It is. All right, don't forget, though, to vote in our Pulse poll. We'll check in on the results later on in the show. It's hot in schools right now, so we see how a lot of schools and parents are getting creative to keep kids cool.
And get your tissues out. A great surprise today in Old Orchard Beach. You don't want to miss this one.
And then after I said that, I was like, wait, a kid is a baby goat, right? In my head. Thanks, Katie.
Alrighty.
How's everybody doing today? I just want to get to a few of your comments. You guys are all talking about the Airbnb regulations. Let me see here. There were a few I saw while we were in the show. Here we go. Bradford says weekly rentals are needed We like to go to different places, and we will rent a property for a week. Joe says, while I can see the concerns of residents being valid, the value of an Airbnb is a great alternative to booking a hotel. I agree, Joe. Perhaps an ordinance to change how they are rented, i.e. a screening process, etc., rather than banning them altogether is a better option. Fair point. June writes, we need to have regulations on short-term rentals. They are business in residential areas and not allowed. We all bought homes being told we were protected from business in the area. And exactly, that is a huge part of the debate as well. Protecting those property values and just maintaining the fabric of the community that people invested in when they bought their homes, you know, going to raise their families.
If you bought a house on the premise of it being a nice, quiet neighborhood, and then all of a sudden your neighbor, does use it as an Airbnb, and the people, you can't control who comes in there, and if they have loud parties or whatever, it might not even be the renter's fault. They don't know that's going to happen, but now all of a sudden your quality of life has gone down. So I certainly can see that argument.
Well,
Christian just said about the squirrels. That we should do what they do in West Virginia, which is actually use them in restaurants. So I worked in West Virginia for 2.5 years, and there's actually this was a long time ago, a book in stores called the Roadkill Cookbook, and you could buy it, and it taught you all the different roadkill you'd see in West Virginia and how you could use it for meals. I never tried it, but it's true. My grandmother and grandfather, who lived in New Hampshire, they had a neighbor who used to make squirrel pie. So that was a thing. That was a thing. Oh, I can't scroll down on my rundown. I hate that. It's a strong word.
I know, I shouldn't say that. Where are we? Right here? It's just the pizza?
Yeah. I also can't go any lower, so.
Okay, you're fine.
No, I mean on the rundown.
Okay.
Are we close enough together, or?
Okay. Yeah, you guys. Okay. They haven't said anything about it.
No, when did this arrive? 10 minutes ago, and I've cleared away 3.
So a look at what the News Center Maine team had for lunch today, and maybe you can order some for dinner because it's National Cheese Pizza Day, and of course we didn't miss that opportunity to celebrate.
We want to know how you guys feel about this, so feel free to weigh in, weigh in on our Facebook or YouTube live streams. What's your favorite form of cheese pizza? Are you deep dish? Are you thin crust? Are you something in between? My answer to that is yes.
I know, all of it is just so
come on, it's so good. I wasn't even hungry and you made me have a piece of pizza when I got back. But it was really good. I ate the whole thing. So.
Clay and I, growing up playing ice hockey, we had a running joke that rink pizza is the best tasting pizza.
I want pizza that has all kinds of grease. Like, bring the grease. If I put it on a towel and then you lift it up and the towel's red, that's good pizza. I'm just saying it is.
Oh, we had a good time, though, sharing some slices around the newsroom today.
All right, quick update on our Pulse poll right now. 71% of you saying no, you do not want to stop people from being able to have Airbnbs. 29% of you say yes, you do want that stopped. You can vote by going to pulse.newscentermaine.com or click on the Pulse tab on our mobile app.
Thanks to those who've weighed in on the conversation we have going on right now on Facebook and YouTube.
And respectful, which, you know, I'm a big fan of, being the dad of the group. Okay, coming up, one family gets a great surprise while they were at school today.
And Keith might have a few surprises up his sleeve in the weather forecast.
Perfect, thank you.
So I could see the monitor over Ortizi, and that's what I was looking at to see like the pizza images.
Oh, I couldn't see it.
And it's not delayed like these ones are. So I was like, yes. I know, because that's something to keep in mind. We need to be able to see a monitor when we do that sort of thing.
Where we are right now, or we're moving over somewhere else? With the Sept behind us? Isaac's like got us doing calisthenics over here.
I love it. I just wish we could see our rundown. What?
I need a piece of paper.
What? Am I on the wrong side? I can't remember. Am I?
I need a piece of paper to white balance.
Let's see. How about this?
All right. Oh, sorry, Facebook. We forgot about you guys.
Oh, here we go. Got it. Perfect.
But not really. Bowling alley pizza is decent. There you go. Hand tossed with pepperoni and sausage, very good. This was not good to do at dinner time.
Ooh, Kathy says she just had authentic deep dish Chicago pizza. Yes, Kathy. Can I just ask you, I'm going to go another level with you. Did you get Lou Malnati's? Because that's my favorite. There's Gino's, there's Lou Malnati's.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yeah, there's Giardino's.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa, we're glad you miss home, and we're glad that you feel like you are home when you watch us. So come on home.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Lindsay, we're bringing your riser over.
They are? Oh my God. Jeff, thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
This is top speed right now.
Sorry. Thanks,
That was
Jeff.
top speed.
Gosh. See, guys, I'm so much taller now.
Did you see your part here?
But only can the heat be inconvenient for all of the people inside of schools each day. It could be unhealthy if not taken seriously. Okay.
You got it.
So yeah. Back to Airbnb. I just booked an Airbnb, not in Maine. I did stay in an Airbnb in Maine this summer.
It wasn't a Holiday Inn Express?
No, it was on an island on Annabescook Lake.
She didn't get the joke.
No, I didn't get it. What's
Cool.
the joke?
You haven't seen that commercial?
No.
Are you a doctor? No, I'm not, but I did say in a Holiday Inn Express.
I'm a millennial. I don't watch commercials.
Sales department, she's kidding. She watches them all the time, and she loves them. Now we're out of work. Thanks. Great job. All right, 89, 93, 95. Those are not grades that I ever got in any class while I was in school, not even combined, I don't think. Those are what the heat index was yesterday, today, and tomorrow in parts of our state.
And not only can the heat be inconvenient for teachers and students inside schools right now, it can also be unhealthy if it's not taken seriously.
In a word, going to school this week has been
Hot. Very hot. Sweaty.
the continuation of summer combined with the beginning of school has left teachers and kids feeling fantastic.
I'll go out to the playground with a bucket of water and ice and cups and stuff, and the kids will get something to drink at recess.
As school staff members across the state get creative with cooling methods like keeping the lights off and breaks in strenuous activities, some parents are doing their part because when the heat is on, the potential for health risks rises.
My son came home from school and said he had a headache. And I said, well, did you drink a lot of water today? And he said, no, I didn't. I've been freezing Gatorades, packing them in their lunch, so by the time they get to school in the middle of the day, they're defrosted, but also sending a water bottle filled with ice cubes and our water from home. And he seems to be doing better.
Let's do it!
Staying hydrated is certainly important and helpful, but some parents are offering even more.
I have a lot of kids with water bottles this year, more than I have before, so I have noticed that. And funny enough, I did have a parent ask if she could send in an air conditioner for the classroom, and I've never had that before.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, having AC in your school. So, I mean, that's the problem. Obviously, Maine schools aren't built for tremendous heat. We don't generally get it. We're not Florida. So, you know, you get a few days at the beginning, maybe a few days at the end, and really you just kind of have to tough it out. So, but the health risks are obviously important. Sending extra water just for a few days while you get through it. And as Keith is going to tell us in a little bit, it's going to cool off pretty soon anyway. So.
Did you learn how to floss today too? That dance move?
I saw him do that, and
Yeah.
I got injured watching him. So I decided to not try that. Okay, so nearly every kid at this point, you all know this, is back in school. That means kids and families are getting used to a brand new routine.
And tonight, the Redmond family in Dayton is starting a new routine too, one that includes their dad, who has been away for a year. News Center Maine's Chris Costa explains.
Well, because I went from Korea to Japan, Japan to Seattle.
Master Sergeant Daniel Redmond is on a mission.
We'll go room to room till we find him.
Walking the halls of Laranger Middle School, searching for his boys.
So it's just been a long time.
365 days without being in the same room as his family.
All the other times he deployed, they were very little, and now they understood, they have a concept of time, and it was dragging for them, and they were, so when is he getting home? Like, when is he getting home?
Jacob? Someone here to see you.
Hi, Jake. Did you miss me? I missed you too.
Having Dad back,
you grew,
fills the biggest void.
Are you super happy? You had no idea?
He's been gone for a while, and I've been missing him.
You were this tall when I left. You know, you see him on FaceTime and Facebook Messenger, and you know they're growing and getting bigger, but it's a lot different when you finally get to see him in person.
From hundreds of miles away to just around the corner.
Doing good. Thanks.
Hey, buddy. Holy smokes. You got big. Hi, buddy.
You think babies have milestones. When you have middle schoolers, the milestones, I feel, are even larger but shorter lived.
We've all missed him. I'm surprised Mama could keep this from me.
There is one more surprise.
Oh, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. My dad was a veteran.
But this time, for Dad, the family's new home that he's seeing for the first time.
And next thing you know, they're going to be graduating from middle school and graduating from high school. So it goes by so fast. So, and now Dad will be home to enjoy it all and see it all.
Thank you so much.
In Old Orchard Beach, Chris Costa, News Center, Maine.
Yep, I can see about 1 million of those, and I've covered a few of them, and I watch every one that I see, whether it's online or in our state, and I just, every time, so.
Makes your heart
every
so full.
time, yep, so happy to see them back together, and thank you, Sue, for your service, much appreciated. All right, we appreciate this weather, too, don't we?
I'm going to love it
Right?
even more when we get that fallish.
The weekend side.
That doesn't bother me.
situation.
Like when you told me it was going to be like kind of cool on Sunday, and that's the first day of the NFL season, I'm like, all right, I can
it's
do
a
that.
good setting
I
for
can't
the
believe
comfort food.
it's already here.
My
The
internal
footballs.
clock is going to be okay with that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because we used to have this problem when we lived in Atlanta where the season would start and it'd still be 95 and it didn't feel right. I'm like, I'm not watching it in air conditioning, you know? It's just not right. So it'll be good, but we have one more hot day before we get, I work for this, there's this company down there that, all right, 78 currently in Portland, 77 in Wiscasset, 73 in Rockland. We got to 90 though today in Freiburg. Dew points are high too, in the upper 60s and low 70s. So if anything, we've gotten increasingly humid over the past 24 hours. That trend continues until about tomorrow afternoon, and then we start going back down, and it's much nicer on the other side on Friday. All right, hour by hour forecast tonight is on the warm side. Even in the middle of the night here, temperatures upper 60s, low 70s, and so we start tomorrow morning at 74 in Portland and 70 in Rockland, and so it doesn't take much to get to 90. I mean, you got to basically pick up 15 degrees to get there, and we'll do that pretty quickly through the middle of the day. Probably be at 90 in Portland, Wiscasset, maybe a little bit cooler in Rockland, but a lot of us will be pushing 90 between noon and 2 o'clock. Now, there'll be a thin line of showers and thunderstorms, but not everyone will get in on these storms. Some of them could be strong, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then that moves offshore overnight Thursday, and we start with a totally different air mass, totally different feel on Friday. It's a partly cloudy day Friday, but ends up sunny through the afternoon. Temperatures only in the low 70s, and we roll that right forward into the weekend. Big Canadian high for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is cool and dry. We talked about this before, but the Canadian highs in the winter can be pretty nasty because they bring down some pretty cold flow on a north and northwest flow. But this, obviously this time of the year, is a pleasant change in air mass. All right, so this is what we're looking at after a warm Thursday. Look at Sunday morning. 40s, some 30s out there, I think, across the mountains of Maine, and we only get to around 65, 66 in the afternoon Sunday, so definitely a fall feeling. I want to show you Florence real quick. This is a good-looking hurricane. It is now a Category 4. It is way out there, but the reason I'm showing it to you is because the models don't know what to do with it yet, and they're pointing it in the general direction of the East Coast. You know, from experience, I will tell you, I've never seen a hurricane at that longitude get itself into, New England. But this is the first time for everything, so we'll keep an eye on it. By the way, this is like 7 days out. So it's interesting in the nerd world that we even have a chance of an East Coast landfall of a hurricane. It doesn't happen too often. All right, beautiful weekend, and then maybe some actual rain on Tuesday, which we actually could use, because it's been a while since we had like a legit rainy day, and then clearing out on Wednesday. But overall nice, because you look at that battle this week, summer won until Thursday, and then fall's going to win through the first half of next week. So
I did notice like the lack of rain by way of my sneakers and clay sneakers, and anyone who runs on like a running trail, because the running trails are all so dry
It's
right
like a
now.
little Dust Bowl situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we were
actually
in a drought.
noticed that
So.
too when I drove by and saw you guys running.
Saw her.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah,
You
sneakers are
you
great.
said, eat
but
my dust.
Your sneakers
Long
are in trouble,
distance
so-
running.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you.
All right, let's check in with Cindy Williams, who has a lot more what's coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Hi, Cindy.
A lot of news today. Jalik Keene was in court today. He is the young man accused of raping and killing a Bar Harbor teenager. We're going to have the details of today's court appearance and his next one. And Don Kerrigan has latest on Maine's Medicaid expansion and what the governor's latest move is to try to keep that from happening. Those stories and much more ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thank you very much. We want to remind you just to vote on our Pulse poll, pulse.newscentermaine.com, or click on the Pulse tab on our mobile app. How you feel about Airbnbs? We'll get you those final results coming up.
And we'll be right back with Brain Drops.
YouTubers, let's go ask Katie how her tooth is. Sam wants to know. And tracks, yes, this is on television and on YouTube and on Facebook. All right, Katie Ortiz.
Kathy, what'd you
We have a
think of
question for you.
Giordano's?
A viewer wants to know how your tooth is.
Oh, that's so nice. Hi, my tooth is in pain. It's
Can
very
they see
sore,
him?
but ibuprofen is my friend.
Can they hear?
There it is.
Okay, I'll be
Live
quiet.
from our digital diva. Question asked and answered.
Kimberly, that is such a sad story you shared, and I think it's so sweet that you helped him.
Oh, and I just saw that too.
Yeah,
Kimberly, that is
so
a great
sad.
story. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
A lot of
to
you guys
see
showing some love for the
so many
reunion
people
story.
that are in need of help.
Melissa, where are you watching from? 102 with humidity. Holy moly.
Was that Melissa?
Yeah, where's she watching from?
I don't know. She said she's from here though, and this is her piece of home. But it's a lot hotter where you are. All right, I have no idea what Keith's doing here with this. There's a lot going on here.
All right.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
No cheating.
This is the biggest whiteboard
This
ever.
is like a balloon. The other
Oh,
one
I'm
looks
stuck.
like a putting green.
I'm stuck. Oh
Yeah, this looks like a green. That's the hole of a golf course. This is obviously one of those balloon animals. Like
It's like
before you twist it up and you turn into something. That's the giant balloon.
no. Also, this is the first time I've ever had any name
know
connection
what
to a
these guys
hurricane
are?
with Gordon.
Oh, Gordon.
Yeah,
these guys
not
are
Florence,
tadpoles.
obviously.
Gordon's a piece of crap. Though.
Yeah, it fizzled out.
Just terrible
Although
hurricane.
one person died.
Yeah, always somebody dies, but
Yeah.
that was a weak storm.
Okay. Pulse results?
Yeah.
Was it a no beat down, right?
Isaac, can you just let us know what they are since we can't see?
You want to do it?
As long as he tells me what they are.
All right. If not, I can see it.
You can see that?
Yeah.
I just can't
See,
see
this
because
is a
of the
monitor
light in
for
my
me,
eyes.
but not for you.
Say that again. 74.
You don't seem like you're an Airbnb fan.
Oh no, I can
Yeah.
just see both sides.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I'm
I
not
can
against
too.
them at
I can
all.
too.
I think it's great for local economy. For
I think if it's like a
individual
condo
people.
above you, you're like, oh god.
Yeah,
Right.
I think-
Like,
but
I'm
I can
actually
see why people wouldn't want them, and I certainly can see why people would. So.
I'm okay with that. It's not allowed in my building.
All right, last look at the Pulse results. You guys voting on how you feel about Airbnbs. About 74% of you saying no, we should not stop allowing them in our towns, and 26 of you saying yes. Big vote coming up in November in South Portland, and it likely will kind of shape the way that a lot of the other communities handle this issue.
Based
so
on zoning.
we will keep covering it. All right.
Guess it'll be closer than that Pulse poll, probably, when it comes down to it. Okay, got a great viewer question. Let's take that full screen. I love getting viewer questions. Keith, what is ground level ozone? I thought ozone was up in space protecting us from the sun cooking us. Well, Linda, I'm glad you asked that. I just happened to draw this picture earlier today, unrelated. Ozone in the upper atmosphere is important as it stops almost 100% of medium frequency UV rays. So, you know, remember the ozone hole in the 80s and early 90s?
Caused by Aquanet.
Yes.
Yes.
Sam
Put a
York.
hole in the ozone layer.
They get basically it was cooking things on the ground, so that's good ozone. Bad ozone is what we create at the lower part of the atmosphere called the troposphere through power plants and mainly automobile emissions. And so we get these byproducts that when they react with the sun create O3. O3 is ozone, and when it's down at the low levels, it's what we call smog. So the problem is it's good up there, it protects us. We shouldn't be breathing it in though, and so when we create our own ozone, it's a negative, this ozone a positive. And obviously after we ban CFCs, we did a lot better protecting that part of the ozone.
All right, so ozone,
Interesting.
Right.
oh no.
Exactly. And then
Okay.
this is the
that's
golf
good.
course.
See?
And that's why now we have to wear the sunscreens that have certain UV protectants in them.
Yeah.
What she
Okay.
said. All right, News Center 5:30 starts right now.
Bye, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.